Hey, Mike, wake up. It's the running backs that are sleeping, not us.
Ah,
Producer. Intro, bigz. Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast. We are your hosts. I am bigz. He is Grindberg. Today's topic, running back sleepers. I'm going to give three. He's going to give three. Um, let's have a moment of silence for Willie Mays. All right. Rest in peace. Say hey, kid. All right. We're talking about running back sleepers. Now, running back is an interesting position in fantasy football in that there are lots of different strategies that have been devised to get the most out of your running backs. And for some people, that's zero RB. And essentially, what that means is in your first 5, 6 rounds, you're not drafting running backs, you're letting the top running backs go because there's so much volatility at the position. When we do that, when we employ that strategy, we want to get guys on the back end, handcuffs, guys who don't necessarily have a job, but maybe will get one down the road in case an injury happens, something like that. Somebody that you're grabbing value late after you're done stacking your lineup with high volume receivers and stuff like that at the beginning. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about sleepers at the running back position. And the first one I want to talk about is Chase Brown. And Chase Brown is the Cincinnati Bengals running back. He was behind Joe Mixon last season. And this year, the Bengals brought over Zach Moss from Indiana. And Zach Moss has not ever played a full season in the NFL. He's good, but just like Rashad Penny and Raheem Mostert, can we really rely on him? Now, in a best ball format, Zach Moss is going to be a pretty good pick because when he does play, he might be putting up 20, 25 points a game. But is he going to play? And if he doesn't, Chase Brown is ready and waiting. My number two is let's talk about Joe Mixon again. Damien Pierce of the Houston Texans. He averaged 4.27 yards per carry as a rookie, which is good. It's good. But he fell out of favor last year. His efficiency was down. They had another guy in the backfield who, it was a competition. It was definitely a committee backfield, and he fell out of favor last year. But Joe Mixon is in year 8 of his NFL career, and he is going to turn 28 years old in July. That does not bode well for his career moving forward. Joe Mixon is somebody that I'm absolutely out on. But if Mixon runs into the running back wall at 28 years old, what's going to happen? Who's going to be there? Damien Pierce is going to pick up the pieces for the Texans, and I am all over his value. Everybody's forgotten about him. He's only in his 3rd year. He's still got tread on the tires, and he has had efficiency in the past. So I'm snatching him up everywhere that I can get him.
yeah, I agree with that call. Like, it's just such a, in these ambiguous, people call it backfields. He's a guy that, had success as a rookie and now is coming into a backfield. Yes, they got a veteran, but who's to say that, Joe Mixon on the age cliff here is, there's some tread on the tires there, right, Big? So yeah, I like that call. And as for myself here, I got a running back here that had a late surge in 2023. He became a standout for the Vikings, and I'm talking about Ty Chandler. He sees the lead back role late in the season with an impressive 157-yard touchdown performance against the Bengals in Week 15. He was behind Alexander Madison, Cam Akers to start the year, but he averaged 5 yards per carry, and that made him a top 20 running back in yards per touch last year, and that made him a success. And now he's positioned to be another guy to keep your eye on. Yes, they brought in Aaron Jones, who has a lot to prove, but he's got some injury history, and I still think that Ty Chandler can carve himself out a role. I don't think he's going to ultimately surpass Aaron Jones, but I think he could be a good complement there, and he could be a guy that it's a sleeper in 2024. And then my next sleeper is a guy who is in a position where his metrics from last season, he was 3rd in explosive run rate, first in missed tackles forced per attempt, and second in yards after contact per attempt. And I'm talking about Jaylen Warren. And despite sharing a backfield duties with Najee Harris, Warren was still an RB2 or better in half of his games. With the proven ability to excel in both rushing and receiving, Warren's elite efficiency metrics underscore his potential, and Pittsburgh's offensive line improved this offseason, and Warren is poised to increase his opportunities under a new coaching staff that likes to favor the run. We know that what Arthur Smith did last year. Schultze, what do you think here, buddy? Let's get you on stage. What do you think about Jaylen Warren and the outlook for the Steelers this year in 2024 in their backfield?
I was a big fan of him going into last year. Wasn't just never a Najee guy. And even in his rookie season, he just popped when you watched the Steelers games. Like whenever they gave him the ball, he was making stuff happen. 4.9 yards a carry his rookie season. And everyone said the numbers, the sample's so small. What about when you give him a load? Well, they jumped up and gave him 149 carries, and he averaged 5.3 yards per carry. So double the carries, yards per carry went up. He also caught 61 balls last year, and you can only expect that to probably be pretty similar. We saw the way that Arthur Smith mistakenly used or didn't use Bijan, for crying out loud. And then they were always putting Algier in, putting Cordero Patterson out there to run some crazy stuff, which may happen again. But
we have more trouble.
Always trouble.
We good.
Okay.
And so the Warren stuff, it just pops out on the tape, the numbers. And like I said, just not a Najee guy, especially this last year. It looked like he was running through mud. And yeah, I'm just out on him, and I love Warren.
Yeah. And it looks like Najee's they said that he's lost upwards of 10 pounds. But yourself, you look like you've gained a little bit of weight, muscle mass there, Schultze, with putting a shirt back on there. But
we always grinding.
Always grinding. Well, thanks for your input, buddy.
Yeah, Najee Harris, I had him pegged going into last year as losing the RB1 job in Pittsburgh. And while that didn't fully happen, Jaylen Warren stayed more efficient than Najee Harris did. I like Najee Harris as a person, but it's a backfield I don't like. Jaylen Warren in the fishbowl, yes, give me some of that, his pass catching ability and everything. But I do want to talk about Ty Chandler real quick. So I just brought up Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon turns 28 in July. Aaron Jones turned 28 in December of 2022. He just turned 29 in December of 2023. He's going to be playing as a 29-year-old. And we saw what happened to him last year. He fell off because of injury. It's just something that happens to older running backs. So I like Ty Chandler a lot, just because there's a good possibility Aaron Jones isn't able to play a full season anymore in his career. So I like that. But my number one, and you guys all know this is coming. I bet if we took bets before the show started, all the people who have ever watched Fantasy Forecast, who's bigz number one sleeper running back, you all know it. He's my running back flag plant this year. That's Zamir White from the Las Vegas Raiders. I've talked about this ad nauseum. I'm going to continue. I made a statement a few weeks ago about Ladd McConkey and how I'm going to keep talking about Ladd McConkey until the wheels fall off. Same with Zamir White. I'm going to continue to push his value at his current ADP until something goes sideways, which I don't see happening. Zamir White averaged 4.2 yards per carry in the games that he played last year for the Raiders after Josh Jacobs left or was out injured, and he was averaging about 21 carries per game. If he sustains that over a 17-game season, that puts him in the range of 1,500 yards rushing for the season. And he was also averaging about 4 targets, which that gets him into the 50 to 60 targets, which is what you want to see from a running back in a PPR situation. They don't necessarily have to have 100 receptions, but if they can get into the 50 to 60 targets, that's going to be the difference between a top 24 and a top 12 finish. Zamir White has for a huge finish in 2024, and he's my big sleeper because still nobody's talking about him except me.
Yeah, I mean, you're the biggest advocate that I've seen of Zamir White, and he may go down as, one of the biggest successes, I think, in 2024. And I'm excited to see him come to fruition for you, bigz, because as a Raider fan, as a guy that, you definitely split your team, and you're not going with your heart here. This is actually pure analysis, and I'm with you here. I've got a lot of Zamir White shares, and take it from bigz here. Draft Zamir White in 2024. He's a smash play. And another guy that is gaining a lot of steam, and he is set to be a sleeper in 2024, and he's backed by strong stats, growing role with the Denver Broncos. Despite being drafted outside the top 45 running backs, Jaleel McLaughlin made an impact early last year and showed impressive efficiency, ranking 6th in missed tackles forced per touch, a sharp contrast to Javonte Williams' struggles. Coach Payton praises McLaughlin as a versatile playmaker. Reggie Bush, Alvin Kamara, he's being compared to, and his yards per route run is reminiscent of both those players. Despite RB3 last year finish, McLaughlin's knack for playmaking ability and involvement in the passing game suggests you could see more opportunities this season. While questions linger about Javonte Williams' recovery and the Broncos' offensive consistency, McLaughlin's trajectory points to increased fantasy relevance. His ability to make the most of his touches and potential for a larger role make him a very good sleeper in 2024. I like this Denver Bronco backfield as a couple sleepers in there, and I'm willing to make a prediction here for 2024, and I'm going to say that we're going to see evolution in that backfield, and it's going to be a couple 1-2 punch here. And I'm going to say that Audric Estime is going to emerge as the lead back in that offense, and Jaleel McLaughlin is going to be a great complementary back to him. And I think both of them have very good upside in this year, and both are sleepers in 2024. So Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime, both sleeper picks. I could see that Javonte Williams having some struggles, and that's just my call. Bold or not, I think they're both sleepers and guys that are going to be rising up draft boards, bigz. What are your thoughts on my assessment there of the Broncos backfield?
I am absolutely 100% on board. I am taking Javonte Williams just in the hopes of him having an injury-free season and living up to his potential, but I'm also mitigating those shares with lots of Audric Estime and lots of Jaleel McLaughlin. So, but I'm on board. Hey, did you know that Willie Mays is the only player with 3,000 hits, 300 average, 300 home runs, and 300 stolen bases in a career? Did you know that?
No.
Another fun fact: he's the only player that hit a home run in every inning from 1 through 16. Last fun fact on Willie Mays: his godson had in, I think it was 2001 to 2003, had a higher WAR than 5 teams total. Like, come on, Barry, that's just ridiculous. All right, that's going to do it for us from the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. We will be back with more forecasting, more info, more analysis, more fun, and we appreciate you. Follow us on Twitter at BigLoadedFFB, at FFConnect99. Come see us at the Expo in August in Canton, Ohio, and I hope you win.
Hope you win, man.